He rolled into the transfer yard, looking all over for someone who looked special.
Well, where is this visitor? I don't get what's so secret about him or her.
Looking for someone?
Yes, Bertram, Wait a minute! You're not Bertram? Oh my God! It can't be!
Hello, Duke.
Prince? Good gracious, I don't believe it!
Good to see you, buddy.
But why are you here?
I to help deliver that tent.
What on earth is that tent doing on the rails?
Well,
the workmen all gathered around and quickly dismantled the tent, and under the tent was an engine.
Palmerston? What are you doing here? We're the special visitors, of course. How are you, old Dookie?
Duke was so baffled yet happy that he didn't know what to think.
What are you two doing here? After 136 years, you just pop out of nowhere?
We thought we'd pay you a visit. It's been far too long since we've seen you, and it's our biggest regret.
Meanwhile, Diesel 10 was helping workmen mend the old bridge by Crosby. He found it very boring and grumbled dreadfully.
Oh, shut your big mouth! Oh, great, another steamy. Jesus Christ, what is that? What? Holy scrap! Hey, get back here! Help! Help! Get away from me!
Diesel 10 was going so fast that he wasn't watching where he was going. He didn't realize the points at the dairy were set to a siding.
Hurry! Quick! Help!
Oh dear.
Don't get near me! Hinchy will get you! Ah!
Percy was laughing so hard he thought his boiler would explode. He laughed all the way to Kelsthorpe. The next morning, the breakdown train was sent to put Diesel 10 back on the rails. The fat controller joined the crew and was very eager to give him some stern words.
You have been a very horrid engine to the others. Sir, there was this big yellow dragon last night. I tell you, it was... A dragon? What on earth are you talking about? Oh, wait a minute. Oh. What's so funny? You silly engine. That dragon was a paper one for the carnival.
Diesel 10 gulped. He felt very silly and humiliated, but what he didn't realize was that he had fallen victim to one of Percy's schemes.
There's no way out! We can only go where the rails are! We do!
Not necessarily. You two still have fuel in you, don't you? Reverse backwards and don't stop when you get to the wall.
We will go straight through it!
Exactly! That's the point! Help! 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 Help!
Get on board.
Come on, let's get out of here!
What about the explosion?
It's too late! We'll have to kill Topham another way!
Don't worry. I'll make sure that building explodes.
Wrong way! What are you doing?
I have no use left here, and neither do you!
Stop! Stop! Stop!
He just suicide bombed that building. I think Boggiston was on board, which means... that means he's dead for real this time.
If I was there a second longer, I would have melted into a drink. I'm gonna need a new paint coat.
Well, it's over then.
points were all set, and Edward gathered all the strength that he could. I failed once, but I will not this time. The first coach moving helped to start the second, and the second helped the third, and the third helped the fourth, then the fifth, the sixth. Come on! Come on! Easy, boy! You're doing well! Edward did not think so. He moved slowly onto the branch line, gasping with exhaustion. But he soon found his puff. Slowly but surely, the train gained speed over the icy rails. Well done, boy! You've got them! You've got them! And he listened happily to Edward's steady beat as he forged slowly but surely ahead. The passengers were anxious. They wondered if Edward would be able to get them home without breaking down. Edward was going no more than 30 miles per hour, and the usually short journey seemed like an eternity. But Edward struggled on. He would not give up. Eventually, his driver could see the entrance to a familiar yard. Look! There's Knapford! We've done it! Edward was so relieved yet so exhausted he couldn't speak. With every wheel turn, the station got closer and closer, until finally, Edward rolled triumphantly into the station, just as he did over 50 years prior on that stormy night. The passengers erupted with cheer. You fantastic engine! You've saved Christmas! Edward had never felt so proud in his life. There was nothing he loved more than praise from his loyal passengers. That's Edward, isn't it? I heard he may retire soon. If that's the case, then he went out with a bang. Diesel rolled into the yard, being very cocky. Revolutionary! I will show Sir Topham Hatt just that. This railway is antiquated with all those steaming teapots. When the Fat Controller finds out how good I am, he will send every one of his steam engines away. The age of the diesel has come. Ow!
You know, I think it would be funny if he was sent away instead. Let's do it and see if he actually has the courage to take us on.
The trucks all laughed in agreement. Just then, they saw the Fat Controller and the yard manager approaching. Now was their chance. Let me ask you, sir, who told you what Henry had done? Why, it was Diesel, sir. The trucks also said it, too.
That's because he threatened to bash our innards out if we told the truth. It was Diesel that did it out of pure clumsiness. He put the blame on Henry to cover up.
The Fat Controller's face went red. I knew it! Are you sure it was him?
Yes, and he told us some tall tales about duck name-calling.
There was a long silence. Well, I never. I shall deal with him at once. And I don't usually say this, but thank you for your honesty. If this good behavior continues, you shall be rewarded. The trucks were delighted. Meanwhile, was smiling and came up to him. Why, it's a toad brake van. My dad was a guard who worked in one of these. He used to always let me ride in it. Oh, it brings back so many memories from my wonderful childhood. We can get you another coach and engine, sir. The governor thought for a minute. Then said something that shocked everyone. You know what? No, I'll take a simpler way to travel. Mr. Brakevan and your Great Western engine, would you mind giving me a lift to Arlesborough? Toad couldn't believe what he was hearing. Neither could Croven. Right away, sir. Up on board. What? Sir, I must decline this ridiculous idea. I am the governor, and I have made my mind. And with that, Oliver and Toad set off. The governor had a wonderful time. He was so excited that he kept pulling the brake lever on and off, which made the journey very difficult for Oliver. Toad, on the other hand, told the governor all about his escape from the scrapyard with Oliver and Douglas. The governor was fascinated and listened with his eyes wider than a child. "Me father said rolling stock always had the greatest stories." Toad laughed as they puffed into Arlesborough. It was flooded with people. They were all shocked to see the governor of Sodor, the most important man on the island, riding in a shabby wooden brake van. Cameras flashed like mad, and when Oliver stopped, the police had to shoo everyone away from Toad. "This'll be front page on the newspaper. He'll be the luckiest brake van ever." Sir, might I ask why you aren't with your private train?" "Oh, to heck with private luxurious trains. A brake van is the way for a politician to travel." After he had walked off, the news reporters started interviewing Toad. Toad was so overwhelmed that he didn't know which questions to answer first.
Hello? So what's this all about?
Well, Topham, I know exactly who is responsible for both the crash and the attempt on your life.
Yeah? And who is it?
Topham, do you remember about 5 years ago when there was, well, a hijacking incident on the Skarloey Railway?
Wait, do you mean the one where those hooligans tried to steal the gunpowder?
Yes.
You don't mean their leader, Thitkins?
Exactly. He was released from jail recently because he had cancer. It all makes sense.
Oh, yes, I guess it does. How did you find this out? And where's the evidence you brought me over for?
Well, it's basically...
Are you alright? You're sweating like mad. Mr. Percival, where is this evidence?
Right here, fatty. I wouldn't move if I were you. This gun's fully loaded and I'm not afraid to use it.
Help! Don't spoil the party, you little steam putt!
What the bloody hell is going on?
I'm so sorry, Topham. He kidnapped me and used me to lure you.
Now then, here's the deal. You will stay where you are. Any attempt to escape or call for help, and you'll be shot.
Alright. Look, what do you want from us? I don't want any trouble. Just let us go.
Me specifically? I don't want anything from you. It's my boss who'd like to have a word with you.
Boss? What boss?
Let's just say he's my old owner.
Old owner? Your old owner died of a stroke years ago. Don't give me that rubbish.
Who is your old owner?
Why don't you ask him yourself?
Oh my god. How is this possible? You're supposed to be dead!
Am I not dead? Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, it's lovely to see you again, Topham.
Well, if it isn't the one and only bastard, Phil Boggiston. What in God's name are you doing here? And how the bloody hell did you survive?
Survive? What? I never had to survive anything. I faked my death so I could go undercover.
But they did an autopsy.
Yes, I hate to tell you, but that was falsified. Aren't you forgetting my brother does autopsies for a living? He was the one who, quotation marks, performed the autopsy. That's what he does for a living.
So you falsified an autopsy report?
Yes, indeed. Very clever, you'll have to admit. Now then, I think I should remind you all why we are here today.
Because you want to kill me? I'm not bloody stupid, you know.
You're absolutely right, Topham. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think we need to explain why.
Because you're a corrupted, despicable person. We all know what you tried to do with your business.
That's because you bankrupted and tarnished my family! My father lost everything when your father broke ties. You slandered our legacy. He went into despair and drank himself to death. We were on the verge of losing our business before he died, but as he lay on his deathbed, I promised that I would save our legacy and bring us back into wealth. You know what he told me?
What?
He told me that I needed to use any means possible to pull our family out of the ashes, and boy did I.
Typical businessman.
But here's the sad part. I came to your father on all fours begging for forgiveness. I wanted to change the negative image of my family that my father had tainted. And after I proved to you I wouldn't be as corrupt as him, your father greatly obliged.
But that's the problem, you idiot. You became even more corrupt than your father.
Ah, but it didn't have to be that way. You see, we entered a loyal friendship, and the friendship continued when you came into power in 2013. But then you and your father tricked and betrayed me. When I saw the contract at first, it was written in a way that I believed that you would only be using my fuel for your engines. This brought in loads and loads of money, and I brought our family name back into glory. However, as soon as I decided to slightly raise the price of my fuel, just so I could make a tiny bit extra, you began using other fuels. At first, I believed you were in violation of the contract, but then I realized that you and your father had specifically worded the contract so that there was a loophole where you could use whatever fuel you pleased. You had cheated me!
First of all, it was more than just a slight raise of price. You skyrocketed the price, and that is the exact reason we wrote the contract in that way. You must have misread it, because it clearly stated that I would only use your fuel if the prices were reasonable.
Make all the excuses you want. You betrayed me in pure spite, and now my business was threatened.
It wasn't just the price, you bonehead. You were just as corrupt as your father.
It's all business, Topham, and you decided to play fool, so I did exactly the same in return.
By tampering with the other fuel to make it seem like yours was the only reliable fuel. Very clever, but I was smart, and I knew something was up. You didn't get away with it, now did you? If you had been to trial, they would have immediately found you guilty. And you know what? When I first heard that you had died, I immediately assumed that you had committed suicide because you knew you'd be caught.
Why did you fake your death? That sounds like a very stupid thing to do. You wouldn't be able to get any more money. You might as well should have really died.
As a matter of fact, when I knew that I was in trouble, I considered suicide at first, but then I got a wonderful idea. If I had just killed myself, you all would have won. That just didn't sound acceptable for my family's legacy. I then realized what I needed. Revenge. And if I were to fake my death, no one would ever suspect me. That way, I could go undercover and serve justice deliciously. I staged an accident to tarnish the legacy of the railway and get you booted out. And it worked marvelously. Until some idiot left my notebook full of evidence on the platform!
Yes, well, sorry about that.
In all fairness though, Fitkins has been marvellous. He was a loyal worker to Ballyhoo Firearms Gunpowder before it was shut down. He was a very close to the head of the company, and when he got arrested, Fitkins had nothing left. The owner of Ballyhoo Firearms was a close friend of mine, and so I felt I had the duty to help one of his most loyal workers. I instructed Fitkins and some others to steal gunpowder so I could use it for my master plan. But unfortunately it failed, and Fitkins ended up in jail.
That is, until I got terminal cancer and was released from jail to live out my final years at home. I owed Bogiston a favor, so I got in contact with him and the plan went back into action. And what's more, I used to be a signalman many years ago, so I knew exactly how they all worked. I was able to hack into and eavesdrop on the signalmen's communications, so I knew exactly where each train was going.
As you've probably figured out, we tried many schemes to get you into trouble, and they were quite clever too. Who would have thought that we could have intended a diesel to block the line, or how we dislodged a boulder? But all those failed. I decided that there was only one thing I could do, that is to kill you. And now we've lured you into the right place. You've lost, Topham. You thought you could mess with me? Well, I'm afraid not.
Well, Diesel 10, this is how you repay me. I gave you a home and work, and gave you many, many chances to improve yourself. I'm the only one who would do that, and yet you betray me and try to get me murdered? You're a strong engine. Make the right choice.
Don't try and guilt trip him, Topham. Remember, he was a gift given to you by me as a means of trying to repair the relationship between the Hat and the Bogistons.
So Bogiston was his owner? He never told us it was him, just that he came from a businessman.
I didn't think the engines would appreciate me using Bogiston's engine until our relationship had been completely resolved, and I just never got around to telling you all when we did. It's complicated. I'll explain later.
That's fair enough.
Explain later? Did you forget we are here for right now? There will be no after for you. This is the end for all of you.
And what will that accomplish? They'll find out it was you, and then you'll no longer be able to hide.
Oh, they won't know it's Bogiston. We'll cover it up very well.
Exactly, and even if they do find out, I've got a private jet waiting to take me to Cuba. They won't catch me. I'm a free man. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. It won't just be you folks meeting your end tonight. We've got an engine taking the goods train to Natford, and it's full of explosives.
What?
Yes! We tricked one of your engines to take it for us, and in about 30 minutes, the whole station will go up in flames. Oh, it will be spectacular. We just thought it'd be fun to do some damage after we've dealt with you, and we heard your father will be there as well, so it will kill two birds with one stone.
Is this how you please yourself? By murdering innocent people?
I'm afraid that's how it works. Sorry about Chuck. I was able to put on a disguise and sneak into the coach and deal with him. But that's life sometimes. You have to do what you have to do.
And speaking of which, we'll have to put dynamite in this engine to prevent him from talking. We'll do that after we deal with you.
Mark my words. If you kill us, or any of our engines, the remaining staff and engines will hunt you down, and will not stop until they've ripped your head from your body and crushed it with a steamroller!
Sorry, Topham, you're not scaring me. Fitkins, do the honor.
With pleasure.
What?
Police, get on the ground! Put your hands up!
He's escaping! After him!
Don't move, Thomas, old boy. Driver, couple him up.
Don't worry, Topham. We've got you now. You're safe.
How on earth did you manage to save us?
I was flying my drone on my property, and when I put the SD card from it into my computer, I could make out you being held hostage at gunpoint from the footage. I then alerted the authorities, and we came to the rescue.
Oh no. Wait! Natford is going to blow up!
Oh, damn. We've got to warn them!
And so we shall. I'll use my cell phone to call them, and then in the meantime we must rush over there to help.
There's not a moment to lose. Tally-ho!
Bill and Ben had no trouble until they reached the bridge. The water rocked it back and forward. We have to cross! It's the only way!
Are you crazy? We'll end up like Toby, but worse. Oh, stop being a pussy and go! Ah, stop pushing me!
The twins dangerously made their way across the bridge. It shook and swayed as the water tore at it. They were just in time.
We made it! Hooray!
Bill and Ben forged ahead through the blinding rain. They swam through a huge puddle and kept on going. Their wheels gripped the rails as hard as they could. At last, the two reached Wellsworth. The workmen all cheered.
Well done, Bill and Ben. You have saved the lives of 4 men. A fine effort indeed. I am very proud of you both.
Exhausted, Bill and Ben could only smile.
Engines, no doubt you are all aware of the tragic incident that occurred a few days ago. Chuck was a hard-working and friendly guard, and he was quite fond of all of you. I can't tell you how much it pains me that he died doing his job on my railway.
But it wasn't your fault, sir.
Unfortunately, regardless of whose fault it actually is, I am always the scapegoat. I am, after all, head of the railway. I love my job, and you all mean the world to me. But the truth is, especially after a not-so-great safety record, you may have to prepare yourselves. I will fight as hard as I can for this railway, but it will be difficult. I'm to attend a hearing next week. Needless to say, the railway's future depends on it. That filthy German bastard! Gordon, that's not helpful! Even though I will say I fully agree with you. But anyway, that's all I needed to say. I hope I haven't failed this railway.
Failed? You? Poppycock, sir! You may have had a few incidents, but let me tell you that you have not at all failed us, and you never will. You uphold the Hat legacy brilliantly. You've never cowered down in the face of adversity. You stand your ground. You put our welfare before anything else.
I must admit, I never expected those words to come from you, Diesel. You are a truly reformed engine.
Oh, well, your father did give me another chance.
And you yourself gave me a second chance.
That's why you have, and always will have, our support.
We would rather melt in the scrap heap than have you taken away from us. Hear, hear! Hey, spare the sarcasm and let's get going! With a huff and a puff, the engines set off. It was not easy work at all, pulling 10 coaches and a broken engine. It wasn't long before they reached the dreaded hill. Good Lord! This is much worse than I thought.
I fully agree. Heave!
The wheels slipped furiously as the engine snorted up the hill at no more than 8 miles per hour. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Catchy phrase. Where have I heard that one?
We're stalling! Come on, we're right at the top. There we go.
Just get the coaches over the top and we'll be through. There we go.
I've done it! I've done it! You mean we've done it?
Well done, you two. We're moving again.
There was still a long way to go, and the engine struggled on through the fierce wind and rain. Puff to a steady rhythm. Here's Crosby. Here's Elves Bridge. Just one to go.
And here's Tedmouth. Look, the rain has stopped.
By Jove! That chap might actually do it!
And with puff after exhausting puff, Croven did.